got so many other options available.
Well, of course, UP are going to be starting on the red side as we hop into Champion Select here, and Twisted Fate going to be banned away from Punished. Played it twice in his last 3 games, so definitely understandable that they are going to be taking that away. Rise being banned away from either Insec or Korn. Of course, Korn notably the Rise player of old, and he's really hit his stride here in the mid lane. A lot of his favorite champions coming back into form. We're speaking about the likes of Fizz, of course, Rise there as well.
Yeah.
So, look, Korn has been playing fantastically, and we mentioned the fact that Name often the carry here for King, but it was all Korn in their victory last night.
Yeah, definitely. It's nice to have a second threat in this team, and even Insec playing Yasuo, a third threat to a degree, just because
I want to see him pick it again. I just want to see him do it again. It's I don't know whether it was like a strategy into OMG to say, oh, I'm just going to pick this guy every single time because I'm up against Xiaoyang, but see whether Lung has to deal with that one more time. Of course, Frostgren did mention quite a few times last night that Insec has just been spamming that champion in solo queue.
Yeah, he's got about 20-odd games in the past week of exclusively Yasuo.
Oh, King, what are you doing?
A couple others mixed in between, but the Echo not what they're looking for right now.
Yeah, not a first pick here. They're banning it away from Amy, of course, has showed a whole lot of success on that one in the jungle, but I guess Huey may not be that sort of comfortable having that as the flex pick for Korn in case something happens that he doesn't want to really take into the mid lane again. So it's interesting. Of course, UP would have had the counter pick anyway, so I just don't know. I just really liked Korn's Echo, and I wanted to come back.
The Echo ban does say to me they're looking to prioritize another champion, of course. Maybe the Fizz is a possible flex pick. The Sivir is also available. They've got a lot of options they can take. Caitlyn, even, as AD carry, seems to be quite nice into Sivir now. And then there's Insec, because Insec likes Yasuo, and that comes first.
Yeah, well, I think he probably just wanted to have a bit of a hover. Of course, hovering a little bit of Lee Sin just recently as well. Does like to make sure that he's sort of talking to the fans with his picks there just for a moment. But it is going to be the Sivir. Very understandable. Name picking up a lot of his victories on that champion. And of course, if it's not Sivir, it's Jinx. And so far, the Jinx hasn't necessarily been netting them the win. So may as well hop over to the other one that you can actually pick up victories on. But that does leave 2 key picks up, and Alistar snuck through the ban phase.
Alistar did just get through about a 60% ban rate as well, so managing to get that through the ranks here. A very good second pick for them because the Sivir is priority. And Amy actually, unlimited potential, banning away that Gragas, it does leave open the Rek'Sai as well. I expected them to pick up that Rek'Sai because of the Sivir priority with the Alistar. Instead, they've gone for that Victor and the mid strength and just having a powerful blow up anyone they like mid laner.
Yeah, and if we're talking about comfort picks, that's 3 already for King. I mean, Insec, he loved to play Hecarim with Smite Teleport from the jungle.
Yeah.
He didn't even care. He wasn't even a top laner at that point. So, look, more than happy to pick that one up in the top lane. And Huey, we've mentioned the fact that he doesn't necessarily have the deepest champion pool, but he's got the one champion that he's been able to perform incredibly well. And I'm not going to talk about that Pentakill again because I tend to do it every single time. It was impressive, but irrespective of that, he's still had a lot of his best performances on that champion. The answer, though, from Amy is going to be the Sejuani. And Sketch, that time is very low, and that's going to be a Draven.
Doing his best Crystal impersonation, I would hope, and going to come up massive this game. But you're right, we've got the Rek'Sai and the Hecarim locked in here from King firstly. Comfort picks, that's what they want to do. Having the Gragas banned here does leave the Sejuani to Amy, and we have seen some good Sejuani games here. And the Draven being picked as the 4th option here, the AD carry Scat. Going to have a Draven, very interesting, into the Sivir, can 1v1 quite easily.
Yeah, well, and I guess, you know, you have just a whole lot more duel potential as a Draven against a Sivir. You're oppressive in lane. You're really able to push them out. Of course, King, are they going to look for a lane swap? Because they've picked a Draven for a lot of lane power, plus a Sejuani on the side of unlimited potential. And often you see a Sejuani team comp want a lane swap anyway.
Yeah, but because they've got the Draven Alistar, I highly doubt they'll look for the lane swap. There is a chance that unlimited potential will, and just leave the Draven by himself to give him free levels. And then just cash in, or just attempt to cash in once. It's kind of an all-or-nothing strategy on those Draven Adoration stacks. But in saying that, the Sivir usually wants to lane swap in her own right, and I wouldn't be 2v2ing against an Alistar Draven if I was a Sivir, regardless of my support. And speaking of supports here, we've got the Morgana locked in. We've got the LeBlanc as the last pick here, the mid laner for King. We're going to have Korn on one of his greats.
Yeah, and Korn's sort of able to pick up another one of these assassins as well, and we saw him really ducking around the fights, doing fantastic things, and that is a Riven top, ladies and gentlemen. Long is going back to his days of a carry top laner and really bringing it to Insec, and I don't know. It seems like disrespect to me.
Yeah, hold up. What Korn's playing anymore doesn't matter. We've got ourselves a Riven into the Hecarim. That's ridiculous. I cannot wait. The aggression, you're right. It's going to be there. And maybe he's just trying to put Insec under pressure. We've seen the Smite matchup. Maybe the Riven might go for Ignite, perhaps. Gives you a little bit of extra early kill pressure, where Riven does sort of, I would even say, struggle against the Hecarim. It's quite a risky pick.
Well, it's interesting because, of course, Hecarim likes to run around a lane and just use that Rampage, and you don't take the creep aggro, and she's just going to want to be fighting you at all stages, irrespective of the creep wave. So, look, we'll see whether he can use that dash, pick up a whole bunch of shielding, and help himself out, but it's going to be an exciting lane. As we go down the rosters, though, Huey against Amy here with the Rek'Sai into the Sejuani. Pretty clearly different as far as the power points are concerned. Rek'Sai able to get a few more things done during the early game, and level 6 is when Sejuani's really going to hit her stride. The mid lane going to be explosive as well, but Name versus Sketch, this lane is going to be super hard for King to deal with if it is a 2v2.
Yeah, one of the mismatches of the draft at the moment. And then you have a look at the Alistar and the Morgana. So a big front line here from Unlimited Potential.
Yeah.
Playing to their strengths, looking to get that team fight. But King's team comp as well is extremely good in its own right. They have a lot of power picks in their lineup.
Yeah, and there's the fact as well that, look, Alistar acts as a pseudo mega tank as well in the front line, because you have that unbreakable will. You can make sure that you're not taking a crap ton of damage very, very early. So, look, they've got the 2 tanks. They can move forward with the Riven for some extra damage. The AoE, massive damage with that Wind Slash. And look, let's hop into the game and see how it goes. And here we are, ladies and gentlemen, King versus UP, our first game of this series. Of course, our 5th of the evening here for the LPL. If you've been here the whole time, thank you very much for all of your support, because, of course, you've been sitting down for about 4 hours. And, man, because this...
Yeah, that's a Riven.
Yep, that is a Riven. That is a Riven. So just don't turn off your browsers or anything like that and reload. That is, in fact, a Riven in the LPL. Okay, and look, we'll see how it goes.
While we're in a lull at the moment, King just expecting Unlimited Potential to come to this particular bush, which is very unlikely. Unlimited Potential sitting in their 5-point fan. I want to point out, as we mentioned just before in the pregame, they've got that Alistar in the support. And that is a mega tank that comes from the support role, which alleviates the necessity for another tank in the top lane or in the jungle. And now they've picked up the Sejuani as well in the second rotation. That allowed Lung go whatever he wanted in the whole world, as long as he's comfortable into the matchup against the Hecarim. And I mean, from the looks of it, he's going to start in the jungle and go straight into that top lane. They're going to get the standard, except King don't want that at all.
No, King not looking for it. They don't want to lane against Draven. I do not blame them at all myself. And look, there are no deep wards being put down. It's not one of these sort of heavy invade situations where they're looking to get those lane swap wards down. Instead, it's going to be a free lane swap here for King, and it's going to mean that Sketch going to pick up a bunch of adoration stacks, but more importantly, Name avoids getting axes to the face over and over again.
Yeah, it's kind of a big deal avoiding the axes to the face. Sivir and Morgana both starting in the top lane, getting the lane swap in their favor. They're the ones putting this into effect, so we'll see what Unlimited Potential look to do in response to this. You can already tell that Heart, being a bit of a pest, going to go have a look at that red buff.
And you can see Korn as well, actually taking the Q first, which is interesting. Often you see LeBlancs take that distortion, but wants to just have a little bit of that ranged harass available. And Punished, of course, trading very well with a shield on his Q.
It's actually a clever adaptation to go for that Q first against the Victor's insane.
Oh, yeah, you're not going to be able to get that Grump, buddy.
Nope, not a chance. But
mostly because Grump's on the other side of the map and it's a cross.
Well, I mean, yeah. Let's not talk about logistics or names or anything. The point's the same. He almost died from it.
That is true. Oh, actually, Zero, and we're heading up to this top side of the map. Going to knock up himself a red buff here, as he doesn't want to take the aggro. Dark Binding lands, but they're outmanned here due to the fact that Name has stayed in that top side. Smite is good from Amy, but our King finished here. Dark Binding was just back off cooldown, but not going to be looking for anything just yet, and just harassing them out in the jungle here a little bit.
Yeah, just being pests. The Morgana's free to be completely unlocked, do as she would like, and Rek'Sai just looking to kind of just take away that red buff and assuming it was a vertical jungle, so to speak, or diagonal even, because they started at the red buff. So a nice adaptation here from Huey to go from red to red and try and control that jungle for 3-buff start and have the threat of diving. But speaking of, Alistar is deciding to do a 2-on-2 lane with a Riven.
Yeah, it's sort of like the tanky bruiser meta from Season 1 back in effect.
Almost. Just not a Taric.
Yeah, it reminds me of Shen Garen, you know? The beautiful lanes of old.
No, the best one was Blitz Shaco.
That's not a lane.
Yes, it was. It was the best Season 1 lane to ever exist. Hooked them into Jack-in-the-Boxes.
You've got a weird obsession with Shaco.
Yes, I do.
All right, all that aside, though, how's this going to work out? Because, of course, this is a lot of the reason why Riven didn't see a lot of play in competitive due to the fact that lane swaps are a thing, and Riven does want to sort of be that menace in lane and get these 1v1s happening. Of course, you can't get that when you have to be walking around with a cow in the top lane.
Yeah, and you can't even stun people because they've got Morgana here on Zero to just use that black shield, completely negate any all-in attempts that you will have. So at the moment, they're just content with trying to get farm onto Lung, and hopefully when it swaps back, he's in a great position where he can essentially 1v1 the heck of him, irrespective of the CS at that stage. So depending on how long Name actually wants to stay in this top lane and have the 2v2 with Lung, it will indicate how strong the Hecarim's going to be once the swap comes back into effect, and if the Riven can 1v1. But at the moment, quite content farming.
Well, trying to anyway, has missed a cannon creep, very upsetting, but does mean that Insect not yet in lane, not going to be having the same treatment here with the support help.
Yeah, and then the threat of a freeze is definitely about to become extremely real for Lung as he starts to lose all of that health, and Name and Zero harassing them out. The minions pushing in favor of King towards their turret, and they can kind of do as they would like right now, and they did pick up that cannon, so they're winning.
Yeah, Heart actually did try to do some funny business with the Triumphant Roar, give it a little bit more health so that Name missed the CS, but didn't happen. Name, of course, too cluey there. Does like farming with this man.
Yeah, the mid lane at the moment actually has a sizable CS lead for the LeBlanc, which is definitely worth noting because Victor has a lot of lane pressure, whereas LeBlanc, if you look to consistently and repeatedly trade with your opponent, you run out of mana very quickly.
Yeah, and Punished actually using the laser just there. Korn able to pick up this farm under turret, and he's been doing a fantastic job of that thus far. Really sort of misses that CS, so sort of ruins my whole point just a little bit, but still. On LeBlanc, there's a few tricks that you can do, but it is a little bit tricky to nail every single one of them, as Amy is going to poke his head into the jungle here. Doesn't quite have level 6 just yet. In fact, has level 3. So these junglers probably don't want to butt heads if you're a UP fan.
Not at all. Amy needs some time, ramp up to that level 6 and have a big impact once the ultimate comes available. And one of the small tricks for a LeBlanc to last in on the tower, by the way, is to put 2 levels in your queue, as we are seeing now, as he goes to max that Distort straight after.
Ah, interesting. So you get enough damage to take out the caster creeps after 1 turret bolt.
Yeah.
Brilliant. I learned how to play LeBlanc today. Heart is going to pulverize Zero. He gets headbutted back into Long. Nice black shield just to make sure that he doesn't get stunned up, but UP unable to find anything more. And there's the Dark Binding on the Heart at the same time. Zero nailing the skill shots. Is going to mean that UP, with the multiple members of King in the top side of the map, in fact, both teams top side of the map, are going to try and take advantage of it, take down this turret. Heart actually takes a lot of damage here.
Whoa!
Whoa! That was aggressive.
He had no mana.
Yeah, couldn't get the headbutt off, so Heart just sort of sheepishly maneuvering back to base now to pick up some more resources.
That was interesting.
Oh, Huey's making his way in here. Punish gets knocked up. Nice shield from the barrier as he flashes out of the way, but Huey answers it. The flash forward from Korn to try and steal it away from the jungler, but it doesn't even work. And man, Korn off to a great start again.
The end result is the same, of course. They get the kill onto their mid lane. A Punish goes down here. Korn and Huey both having their involvements. At the same time, the top turret, King getting everything in their favor right now. The gold lead's starting to grow and develop for them. And now it's up to Name and Zero as to if they want to go back to bot lane and find that 2v2. But you're against the Draven with a BF sword still. I probably wouldn't advise it.
No. I mean, he's down boots, but he's still Draven.
Yeah, he's still got a W.
Yeah, so. W and that, you know, that Q move that does those big axes that smack you in the face. And we were speaking about axes in the face, and I don't think we necessarily needed to reiterate the fact that that's not a good thing.
No,
because it's sort of like one of those, if you're at all defensively inclined, you probably don't want to take axes to the face.
There's few instances where I would ever really imagine wanting an axe to the face. But in saying that,
I think
you can see Name and Zero have come back down to the bot lane. And Heart's just taking damage constantly right now.
Yeah, in fact, the whole game just likes to be taking damage. Just stand aside, just rockets through. Is going to mean that Zero does have to spend a little bit more time towards the top side. Name, with the boomerang, gets a bit of damage onto Scatch, who has a level advantage here. Solo experience working out quite well for the Draven, as Heart only level 5 at this stage. So Zero looking for his ultimate, as is Heart. And we'll see whether Heart is going to go for any added aggression once that Unbreakable Will is in there.
Okay, so here's basically what you want to happen if you were Name in Zero right now. You want to actually push Draven under turret. You cannot let him control the lane so freely that he can basically juggle 2 axes, and whenever he feels like going on you, whenever you're slightly out of position, just turn it and hit you in the face with microphones in this case, multiple times. What you need to do is push him in, force him to focus more on last hitting, but we're not seeing it just yet because the threat of the Draven is so high.
Yeah, King just can't move out from their side of the map here as well. So Name wants to get some boomerangs across this wave, force them into a defensive position over the side of Unlimited Potential. They do manage to get it out with the boomerang there as Hart almost level 6. He's waiting for it. Sketch furiously hitting minions. Not on that one. Is it going to be the next? I'm not entirely sure. No, he's still a while away.
Yeah, so there's a lot of poke, but no real kill potential sitting in the spot lane until Hart is 6. But hello.
Well, yeah, Huey looking for it. Gets the knock up on Hart. Doesn't have level 6 yet. Of course, Huey almost trading back. Sketch gets exhausted, though, as Zero. He's hit 6, has got the ultimate, forces the flash out of Sketch. And King, they're playing well.
Huey managing to get that kill for himself as well now. 2 and
Another
0
one.
Is this Rek'Sai, and he is a monster at the moment. Very lucky to not go down to the Draven, who would have cashed in all of those adoration stacks. Instead, he remains 3 zeros as a score, and LeBlanc putting down the hurt.
Yeah, punished. Not exactly getting the better end of these trades in the mid lane, as he's going to try and eat some cookies and nurse his wounds a little bit. Korn still playing back in that lane, not with too much forward vision. Dark Binding is going to land Sketch. Is he going to fall down? Multiple shields onto Name, but in the end they don't want to go overly aggressive. You have to respect the Pulverize.
You do. They didn't actually see Alistar until a little bit too late there, so they weren't able to completely commit to that, essentially. It was a lot of free damage and will force the Draven to, no, never mind, he's going to stay with no health.
That is not necessarily a great plan.
Thought he was going to recall, and you can see King's response is to make sure it's at least pushed into the turret so there is no freeze here. And Draven continuing to get those stacks. You're looking to see him get 1 kill and this game will turn on its head. But at this stage, I mean, King are quite in control.
Yeah, it's about where that number hits, whether it's in the middle column or the left-hand one, as far as Sketch is concerned. And I'm pretty sure it is going to be in the middle because he falls down right now. Hart pops the ultimate, but purely defensively. And UP, they just can't catch a break in the bottom lane.
Just as mentioned, though, Greedy staying around for those extra last hits under the turret. He ends up getting a little bit too adventurous and pushes his way out once, and he goes down for it. Loses a lot of those stacks, and that is a bad position for Sketch to be in. Hart has been doing essentially nothing but soaking damage all game, as we're seeing it yet again, another binding. And I mean, Name and Zero are walking around this map commandingly on the back of Huey's sick ganks.
Yeah, Huey's been everywhere this game, and this is what we talk about, the fact that Huey loves to get up in your face early. He may sort of not necessarily control the game as well as a lot of these junglers in the late game. I mean, you're looking at the likes of Dandy when he was a jungler, things like that, as far as getting around the map, making sure that the team is prepared for everything. But as far as the early game is concerned, that's exactly where Huey thrives.
And that comes down to a drafting thing almost here, though, because he got that Rek'Sai, whereas there was no Gragas available. So
yeah.
Amy not able to have the same impact that the Rek'Sai could potentially have had, and has definitely had in this game. So right now you're looking for Amy, level 7, to make an impact somewhere. Even has that Sight Stone ready to put down all of the wards in the world with his support, who actually has Mobies.
Yeah. Already picking up the mobility boots of both of our supports here as well, so they're going to be zipping around the map. Korn distorting his way around here, and I just want to talk about how the draft phase went, because Unlimited Potential put a lot of emphasis onto picking up both the Alistar and the Victor, and both of these champions have been punished in their respective roles.
They have, the first picks have been struggling. Of course, the Alistar always going to be relevant, the Victor always going to be able to blow people up, so they just haven't ramped up as quickly as the side of King have. But again, just to reiterate, that Sejuani being available now to give them that big team fight. All it will take is one good fight for this Unlimited Potential side, and they could snowball themselves all the way to a victory, perhaps.
Well, Dark Binding is going to land. Huey tunnels his way in as well. Does have a black shield, so he's not going to get CC'd. Insect from the backside as well. As Sketch taking a whole host of damage. The Whirling Death, not exactly aptly named as Korn, hunting for a kill. He's super low, though, as Amy's going to go down to Name, who just turns around and puts boomerangs in him. Punished wants to find something. They do have the Tremor Sense available, and Name might be looking for a kill onto Long. Punish is going to go back to base, and we'll see whether King take the dragon or whether they just leave.
For about the 16th time this game already, Zero hits another Dark Binding onto Heart, and that is what started it all. Insect straight away with that teleport, decimating everyone in the backline. They get Scatch down again, and try as they might.
I don't know how Name did that. That was unbelievable spell shielding. Is not even going to get hit by the laser beam as Name just blows the heal to get out of the way. So picks up a kill, and he waited on that spell shield to get it on the pulverize instead of the headbutt. And that's why my brain went to mush.
Easy as she does it right now. The bot lane basically carrying their team through it with Huey, and Insect just coming in to reap the rewards with that teleport in the last fight. Right now, it is so unbelievably in control of King, even though the gold isn't that massive a difference. Only 4K. At 14 minutes, that is big.
Well, yeah, exactly. And it's only one turret down as well. And King, they might just move around this map and pick up all of the extra resources that they can grab because they've got a whole lot of control considering that kill line. And when you've got Huey running around the jungle 3-0-1, you know that on the side of UP, they just cannot freely walk through their own just because there could be a Rek'Sai there with a whole host of items.
That is right. And then being a 3-0-1 Rek'Sai enables you to actually team fight a lot sooner as well because you're the one with all of the gold. And what is a Rek'Sai going to be capable of doing if not team fighting later in the game? It accelerates your entire team forward. And then you've got a 2-0-3 Sivir. You've got Khorne, who's always going to be doing immense amounts of damage and is getting that blue buff at the same time as Punished. I would say King are capable of very handily taking a team fight out right now.
Yeah, and then they've got the late game insurance of the Hecarim as well on top of everything. So, of course, a Draven, not exactly known for his mobility, is just going to get Hecarim'd in the late game. And I'm really questioning Scatch's decision picking up this champion just because Hecarim is on the Rift. So don't play something that's just going to get onslaughted.
I mean, I agree. I like that he needed the damage and decided to go for Draven. It's good into the lane that they were opting for, the 2v2, but they didn't get that. And now you're stuck as a Draven against what is a big pony that can blow you up. So it's an afterthought, of course, that maybe that wasn't the right idea for them. In saying that, they picked up a Draven and a Riven. Perhaps one, not two, was the right idea.
Yeah, potentially, but we'll see whether UP can pull it around as far as this team fighting phase is concerned. As you mentioned, only 2,000.
Wow.
Oh my goodness, Punish! Oh. That was so close as Khorne goes back to his distortion a little bit too early. Doesn't get the chain proc. Does mean that Punish does have to go back, but holy cow.
Punished actually should have died there. A small mistake from Khorne. He had the spell shield on him and he was actually safe to secure that kill, go back to the distort. Instead, they don't get the kill, but they are getting the turret, and they're getting a second one, in fact.
Yeah, so they've taken the whole outer ring and straight away destroy the inner turret in the mid lane, and that just unlocks all of the map here for King, and they're going to be able to start starving unlimited potential out of resources from their own jungle.
Basically, yeah. And it wasn't even a distort that did that much damage either, now I think about it. It was literally just a 3-spell combo.
Yeah, it was the QRE.
Yep, and now they're in a very bad predicament, as you said, to get potentially starved of resources. The one rule of most mid laners and ADCs is to not be in the same lane together for a prolonged period of time farming, and at the moment we've got a Draven and a Victor holding hands.
Yeah, and you don't want to do that. Of course, they can be friends, but just be friends over the phone from a different lane.
Yeah, exactly. You want to be in a different lane. It's about efficiency and
long
getting
distance
all of the
friendship is
yeah.
all you can do, really.
Exactly.
I'm not going to fish for more of these analogies, as Name's going to easily shove up this wave on the bottom side of the map. Huey's there as well, as Long having some pressure here on the top side. Does stun up Insect for a moment, but Insect not too worried about it at this stage. That Sapphire Crystal is there, and massive heads-up move, just going to get the heck out of the lane. Says Amy, yep, okay, welcome. You can have the outer turret. I'm just going to go back.
Yeah, meanwhile, in the bot lane, the Morgana sitting at the side, trying his best to get those binds down. They're going to get another turret, most likely, here if they continue to commit. Name wants it.
Yeah, there's the flash forward from Heart, though. Knocks Name back. Does have a spell shield. Multiple spell shields as Whirling Death. Not going to get the work done. With you on the hunt, they are going to run the heck away from this one. And it means that Heart can't do that for another 5 minutes.
So they keep the turret in the end there, and they get the top turret. Insect having a very rough time here against Long. It's the fact that you have to go for that Cinderhulk and you only have health. I maybe would have even questioned his build path here, opting straight into the Cinderhulk when he could have left it at a Balmy Cinder and got some armor, knowing that the lanes were going to swap back. Instead, he finds himself about 40 CS down right now on this Riven. And that's actually a big factor for Unlimited Potential in maybe winning team fights.
Yeah, well, he's going to go back now, hopefully picking himself up the likes of a Glacial Shroud, something like that, get himself along in this lane. But look, when that Frozen Heart comes in, you have to think that Insect not going to have as much of a problem in the lane.
It starts to become like that, the time bomb essentially of getting these items, the item timings. Once that Frozen Heart is available, the Hecarim is going to be in a very comfortable position to at the very least deal with the split push of a Riven, and that is always going to be an ever-present threat. The Riven is most likely going to continue to split push here for the side of Unlimited Potential. And I mean, that's questionable given the rest of their team comp. They want to fight. They've got the Sejuani and the Alistar. They've got a Draven and a Victor even, who are just massive for team fights, but they're finding themselves further and further behind against what is a double spell shield and a super hard scaling comp.
Yeah, and I just really love the adaptation here. Like, let's pick up as many spell shields as we can and make sure that Heart on the Alistar wants to be the playmaker, can't get onto the carries whatsoever, because you've got spell shields, you're going to have Black Shield hanging around as well in the hands of Zero, and if Korn or Name get slightly out of position, it's not as punishing because they just throw down all the shields and move away.
That's right. They've also got even the on the hunt from the Sivir as well. So everything available for them to disengage. If Alistar decides to use that Flash Pulve, as we saw, managing to get out quite all right with their lives.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the example of the team's drafting, essentially, where you look at the side of Unlimited Potential and it raises some eyebrows. The Riven, the Draven in one team as well, and then you've got a Victor. So you're looking at essentially a no mobility. Draven has move speed. Riven's a little bit hippity-hoppity, but you never really know. Like, it's usually forwards towards enemies. So as for mobility, they're not that massive on that front. They've got the Sejuani and the Alistar as a big front line, but when that front line's not ahead, when their tanks aren't winning, they're not really tanky at all. And then you have a look at the side of King, and they're going to be able to kill the tanks very quickly because they are ahead. And then the no mobility backline of Unlimited Potential will suffer.
Yeah, and what I like to think about this Unlimited Potential comp is that they may not necessarily be lacking mobility, what with the W from Draven and, of course, all of the hippity-hoppities like we were talking about, but it's all moving forward. They're only strong if they're on the aggressive. So Riven, you want to be using that Broken Wings for damage. You want to be using that W from a Draven for damage, but they're not going to be able to do that. So as they're running away, their comp really doesn't work.
It does start to crumble a bit, and essentially you look at the Unlimited Potential side and say maybe their best bet, if they're ever running away, is to just turn it around straight away and give it their best go at winning that team fight. They are very capable of doing that. They've got the Victor who can put down that stunning sphere, stop everyone trying to actually chase you, and that's a good starting point for you to turn a fight around. So, I mean, if they're getting chased and they're in range to take damage, they should most likely be dealing it themselves to avoid this from actually happening.
Yeah, well, we'll see what they actually do as we get through this pause, ladies and gentlemen. Just letting you know, a lot of the players are getting back into this game. A few slight issues. We are going to be well underway very, very soon. You can see lots of things going on. Technicians working on computers left, right, and center, and we will be back into the game ASAP. And I'm excited to see whether Unlimited Potential can pull it all together, because I want to see this comp when it is working, because that's when it gets very exciting.
That's right, and when it is working, it is going at the side of King. So the sooner they can close this gold discrepancy, find themselves a split pushing Riven while she still has that strength and capability of 1v1ing with Insect, then maybe they can get themselves closer by taking down some turrets or just getting some picks. Again, the Riven is probably one of the key factors in this, unless the Alistar has his flash available. The Sejuani not really having an impact so far, but all of the members of Unlimited Potential have the threat of picking someone. It's just coming down to, I guess it starts with vision control. And then vision control when you're losing a game and you're a side that wants to run offensively is always questionable.
Well, we'll see whether they can pull it together. And look, I'm excited to see how it works. Of course, nice little transition there. Yeah. Cute stuff. So welcome back to the Cast Desk, ladies and gentlemen. We are going to be out of this pause, very, very soon. And yeah, look, I'm just worried. Just because Zero has been nailing these Dark Bindings. That first dragon that UP arguably wanted to snowball off. I mean, they had the Glacial Prison all ready for them. They could have got down that ultimate. Amy has shown that he's a fantastic Sejuani. Made it through the early game sort of without getting too much of a problem. Nailed that smite on the red buffs to secure that one away from Huey. But since then, everything's been going wrong, and it's mostly Sketch and Hart in the bottom lane who were talking up. And do you think it might be something sort of wrong with the synergy on the bottom side of the map?
I don't think it's a synergy issue whatsoever. It's just Zero hitting these ridiculous bindings that just
It's like, what's wrong with you, Zero? You're too good.
Forcing you into an awkward position where you're just an Alistar soaking damage the entire time. And a Draven isn't really able to trade it too much when the bind hits because Sivir can throw that long-range boomerang. There's no actual answer. So at the moment, it's entirely on the fact that Morgana is hitting everything ever. And then you've got Huey, who's putting pressure in all these relevant positions.
Yeah, and as far as how Draven works, I mean, is there going to be a stage where Sketch can get that sneaky kill potentially in the mid-game after farming out a little bit, cash in some of these Adoration stacks and find a power point? Or do you really need to get those stacks making money for you early?
You don't necessarily need them early, but sooner rather than later is always the goal here because a Draven can snowball out of control if he gets a little bit ahead and can find a single kill, because with every kill you get more gold and then you have more items and it's easy to get those kills. Of course, it just makes sense.
Yeah.
In saying that, you don't have a item spike as such where you can just instantly turn it on and get all those stacks. You have a Bloodthirster first for the most part. It's more of a sustained trade and then random all-in with the rest of your team. You're always going to be strong in a 1v1, but it's going to have to happen soon for this Draven if he's looking to utilize his passive and get those stacks on board for him to ramp up ahead of the side of King.
Yeah, well, we'll see whether they can actually get that done because it's looking a little bit dire for the Unlimited Potential team, and we'll see whether it's going to be sort of something that they look to in the ban phase as well come the next game, because I think the Sivir has a massive red mark on her head at the moment. Name, it seems to be that when he gets that champion, he's able to pick up the victories, and we've spoken about this many, many times. OMG was sort of discovered in our last series saying, look, you ban away Maokai and Sivir, and what are you going to do? Well, you're just going to lose.
Basically, yes. So the Sivir is a fairly big concern at the moment. We've seen the utility behind the spell shield, even with the Morgana, the double spell shield at the moment. It works super well.
Yeah, well, ladies and gentlemen, we are having a few computer issues, but we will be pausing it just for one moment. We'll be back very, very shortly. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Rift here as King are taking on Unlimited Potential. The players have got their computers back in order, and we're back into the game. Don't worry, you have not missed anything, I assure you. The pause has just finished. Dark Binding does go wide. Zero uncharacteristically missing that one, and Long's going to take down a Gromp just to make sure he's staying ahead of the curve as far as that farm is concerned. You can see Insect there in the top side, able to pick up all the components of his Frozen Heart, in fact.
Yeah, he's actually got the entire Frozen Heart completed as you mentioned it. Yes, you've cursed yourself in that sense, but
multiple times.
10 seconds on the Dragon. Most likely going to be King's control of the Dragon Pit. We'll see if Unlimited Potential actually want to contest this one. They do have a fairly big ribbon with those Lucidity Boots completed and a Pickaxe working on most likely that last Whisper. It's a good chance for them to fight. The Bloodthirster finished for Sketch as well.
Yeah, so Bloodthirster is a big deal for Sketch. Of course, it does almost have his potentially last Whisper. Could be going for that Infinity Edge second build, which I do actually like on the likes of Draven. But with all of this armor built up, I would understand sort of the Archer build to come into this Draven.
Yeah, it seems to be more of a Crystal style. You want that last Whisper, so...
Yeah, Crystal tends to build weird stuff, so he builds like Trinity Force third and stuff like that.
Yeah, Trinity Force is good.
Yeah, well it is. You actually like Trinity Force on most champions.
Yeah. Every champion ever, basically. But in saying that, he is most likely going to go towards that last Whisper, and the Dragon, as we did see go down, completely uncontested here by the side of Unlimited Potential. The vision around that Dragon is unbelievably high in favor of King, and that is 4 odd pink wards being placed around the Dragon and about 28,000 million wards offensively.
Yeah, and that's an exact count, ladies and gentlemen. So
yeah,
28.
give or take 1.
Yeah, so it's weird. They've completely ignored the ward cap and put down far too many. It's hard. He's waiting in the wings here. He's going to be able to find someone and decides he's just going to wander away.
He nopes the hell out of there, but Korn wants more.
Whoa, that's half of the health. Stand aside onto Huey, but he's not caring about it whatsoever. Dark Binding somehow finds Amy. I just don't know how Zero is doing half of these. As Punished finds his way up, and King start the siege.
So there's the threat of the dive, and they did have the big minion stack, but a nice smite here from Amy. Gonna stop that from happening, but you can tell they want this fight pretty badly. They're looking, they're rotating back and forth, utilizing that Hecarim's constant mobility, whereas Long is doing his best attempt at not being in a lane where anyone is ever, and instead wants to go on the opposite side of the map. And I guess there's an early Baron threat here for the side of King.
Yeah, potentially, if they can sort of maneuver themselves around. Of course, Long does have the teleport available, so look, he will be able to get there in time, but King just know exactly where UP are.
Pretty much. King are the ones forcing the rotation, so they are very aware of where everyone is. And in saying that, we're looking at the vision on the map right now for King. That's a whole lot of blue little...
Yeah, there are blue dots all over the place.
Yeah, that's so impressive, actually.
And it just doesn't look like 400 million thousand, unfortunately. So look, I feel like you may have exaggerated.
When there was champion icons around the wards, it just looked like there was
too much trust into you.
There was blue everywhere.
Yeah, all right.
That's the point.
Well, Punish is actually going for a little bit of a Godby build here, actually opting for the Lich Bane as far as his second item. Third, I don't know what you call a Hex Score, whether you call it the item, because of course you get a version of it at the beginning. But look, I'm going to call it an item. He is going to pick up that Sheen next. Whether he, you know, transforms that into a Lich Bane straight away or whether he goes for that Morellonomicon first, we'll see what he decides to do. But I personally like to see someone grab a little bit more AP before they grab the Lich Bane, make it a little bit more worthwhile.
Definitely does make it more worthwhile. The Lich Bane's scaling much better with actually having ability power, of course. Wouldn't be surprised if he upgrades the Morellos first. And another binding, connecting, just another day on the job for Zero here.
Yes. So Amy, of course, a little bit too tanky to be going too aggressive on. Lung has completed that last Whisper, so a power spike for the Riven as she's just going to move towards the bottom side of the map. Lung playing this one out pretty calmly at this stage, not going for any aggressive trades with Insec, who's just wandering around, giving Lung all the respect he deserves on this hyper-aggressive champion.
That would be the last Whisper being completed here, though. You've got a Frozen Heart in response from Insec. He would have been able to trade if not for the fact that all of the armor penetration and CDR is available here for Lung. It's just really difficult to out-sustain a Riven, and even as a Hecarim, it's kind of impressive to say, but the raw damage and ability to kite around, just have the shield availability here. Lung can successfully 1v1, but they're respecting each other in that respect. So
yeah.
Just letting each other farm.
Yeah, and it's the fact that Lung with his E, the Valor, able to get that shield back as well just means your trading power is just so high. Everyone sort of knows. Everyone has those dastardly memories from solo queue where that Riven just destroyed you. Yeah, let's not go into that. Bring back some horrible memories for all of us. But of course, Lung taking it into competitive play. It hasn't seen too much success. In fact, Carry gave that a shot. Of course, no longer playing in the LPL thus far, but there's been a few players that have tried their hand, but not necessarily finding results.
Speaking of trying their hand.
Oh, Dark Binding does miss here as Huey goes super aggressive over the wall as well. Forced to use that flash after the standard side. Gets the knock up on Hart, but Hart also getting the knock up out. And that was a Chaos Storm just hanging out on the Rift, but not actually finding anyone to do too much damage to. And King, they do disengage. They lose a Summoner spell from their jungle.
Korn actually extremely cute player out there, forcing the barrier out of Punish for no particular reason other than him being there and having a presence. And I guess it's not a big loss for either side right there. In fact, King making it a potential win in their favor.
Yeah, they're starting the Baron at least. His Heart is making his way around, does throw... Oh, there's the Whirling Death. So the vision has been acquired here by the UP lineup. Huey does get all of his health back and head back in, but Hart, he's looking to try and mix things up. Flashes in, gets the Pulverize. This is a super low Baron taken by Insec, actually, as UP are now falling left, right, and center. King turn around. There's the Flash Duck Binding onto Sketch. Lung tries to get something done, does actually take down Zero, but it's a double kill for Korn. Huey picks up another one, and that is very close to the ace for King as they're going to plow up this mid lane. And Punished, sort of wondering what his team was doing there because he was all the way back in base.
Yeah, Punish, the only one standing at the moment. King managing to get the Baron, managing to pick up 4 members of Unlimited Potential. And you have to give it to Zero again. Hit the binding onto Long when the fight started. Sejuani caught at the back of the Baron pit. And now they want Punished.
Yeah, they've got the Chilling Smite on him as well. There's the knock-up. What the heck was that burst damage? As Korn just rips him apart. Punish not going to be able to do anything after that. Of course, he's in the Death Chamber. The Inhibitor going to fall down as well as UP. Only 4 men alive, and King just tearing through this game.
They managed to get that Inhibitor down. They've got the Baron buff, and they've found themselves with an 11k gold advantage and 11-to-1 in kills. Everything going in favor of King right now. Unlimited Potential have not had a chance to utilize their team comp. They're being denied everything, and that's entirely on the back of Huey's early pressure and the bot lane winning against the Draven Alistar.
Yeah, and it was perfectly timed as well, because you can see right now all of the waves are building up for Unlimited Potential. The whole time that they were fighting around that Baron, around that mid lane, the waves were still under control for King. So now they can do the cleanup as Huey and Insec actually looking for their respective sort of lane opponents. You can call a jungle a lane. King is going to take down the third dragon of the game here, and I just love the timing windows that King have been playing around here as Heart almost gets destroyed by Korn. And Korn is just too far ahead at this stage.
A monster. We've seen the Morellos now completed from the Victor, but at the same time you have a look at Korn's items and there's a slight discrepancy there to say the least. But I mean, you have a look across the board and everyone is doing exceptionally well, almost all an item ahead of their opponents besides basically the top lane. Even the jungler right now is 2.5k gold ahead.
Yeah, and look, Name is sitting on 90% kill participation, more than.
Yeah,
so,
casual.
Look, Name, we've spoken about the fact that he has the highest kill participation in the LPL, but we were talking about that from the sort of seat of King haven't really got many kills.
Yeah.
But this is in a game that they're winning. They're 11 kills to 1, and 10 of them were participated in by Name. This guy's been moving around the map, able to get every single skirmish, and it's only 28 minutes in. So it's not like we've had this slow early game. There's been loads of kills, but it's always been facilitated and helped by Name.
Exactly right. The Siva has been doing a lot of work, even decidedly taking out a pink ward across the wall as she goes easy, does it. And, I mean, you're right, Name having all of this kill participation, had 85.7% prior to this game even starting, is now going to bolster that statistic a little bit more if it continues on this trend. And the side of King right now just look like an extremely impressive and gradually increasing in skill style team. They've the minion control everything.
Yeah, punished. If he was hit by that chain, he would have died.
Yeah, that's a super low punish right now, and that is the discrepancy between the LeBlanc and the Victor. 3-0-3 with the Death Cap Morellos against a 0-2-0 Victor, who generally low HP to begin with.
Oh, Name actually misses a spell shield there. Gets caught by Amy as well as he flashes away. Huey trying to turn this one around as Unbreakable Will on Heart there, but nice Soul Shackles is going to stun up both of the tanks. And UP unable to find anything from it. Insect continues to be a menace as Lung tries to do some damage to him, but now with so many tanky stats, Insect's more difficult to deal with for this Riven. And even with sort of the magic resist item in the Spirit Visage, that is going to help this Hecarim out so much in the 1v1 just because it gives him so much more sustain.
We're about to see that 1v1 that you're talking about as well.
Yeah, Spirit of Dread. Not quite available just yet. Insect not wanting to take his chances there against the Riven.
No, he's going to canter on away and go to the Scuttle Crab instead. But in saying that, you're right. The fact that he has a Spirit Visage is quite good for 1v1ing, even against a physical damage target, because Hecarim is so big on the regeneration from that W. And, I mean, you put it up against the Riven who's got sustain of their own. At the very least, it prolongs the fight. And based on the fact that King are well and truly in the commanding position in this game, it gives enough time for someone else to maybe come to where Insec is still surviving through all of the damage and trading and put them in a fantastic position to catch Lung. So there's no real chance of a 1v1 because it would take about 25 seconds to actually get a kill on a single person.
Yeah. So, look, we'll see whether anything can come of Lung's Riven play thus far, just because, like we mentioned, Insec able to tank up for a lot longer than would otherwise be expected, especially considering the matchup that he was in, and he's been able to catch up a whole lot in that farm as well, just because he was split pushing for so long. Teleport onto the bottom side though, as Sketch might have been out of position. He's trying to run as quickly as possible as Huey makes his way in. Oh, there's the tunnel, doesn't get the knock up as there's the binding as well onto Amy. Korn dashes through, does get a chain onto a minion as Insect. He's got Lung. Lung is super dead in this fight. Whirling Death gonna find Huey and Insect, but man, Insect is all up in everyone's face. Double kill now for Name as he's getting the auto attacks off. Chaos Storm from Punish, trying to get something back. But Huey, he wants to turn it around again. There's the smite, flashes onto Sketch, gets the knock up. Now Name tries to get some more work done, but Insect might have actually found Sketch. That distort that was a quarter of his health.
Yep, casual kill there. And again, on the back of another Morgana binding. Completely caught out of position here. They find the Riven trying to farm. They find Scats trying to farm, sorry. They catch him completely out of position again. They force a fight. This King lineup are looking really strong.
Yeah, King looking fantastic and picking up momentum from their victory over OMG, who was sitting pretty firmly at the top of their standings, now in third position as Hart does manage to get one. But in the end, not exactly the UP performance that we were expecting, and that was an odd team comp, to say the least.